Yo, welcome to the Nerdy Soul, where we do shoes and board game reviews. My name is Chris, the Geek in Sneaks, and Happy New Year. We are here in 2025. We made it, baby. We got another revolution around the sun in our belt. So I am super pumped to talk about these 25 most anticipated games for 2025 for me. I'm going to be covering a slew of games from all different types of publishers, different types of weights and complexities. And these are games that are scheduled to come out in 2025. You know how that goes. Sometimes they may come out, sometimes they may not. I also don't know a lot about all of these games. You know, some of these have been kickstarted last year and they're going to be delivering. Some of these are just coming straight to retail that there's not much online. Some of them I might have previewed at a convention, but overall, super excited to talk about these games, and let's dive in. Now I've got my computer right here beside me, so if you see me looking down, that is me just looking at my list and making sure I'm covering every game. But let's start with A and go to Z. So first on the list is Above and Below Haunted from Red Raven Games. This is a Ryan Lockett specialty. I feel like this is a sequel to Above and Below. I backed this on GameFound, and one of the things that I love about Ryan's games is that he does a great job of world building. I believe his whole family's sort of involved in this. I loved playing Sleeping Gods Distant Skies, and I've really enjoyed some of his older collection of games. Above and Below is one of those, and this is sort of a redesign or revamp of that in this world Arzium. And I own Near and Far, and I think there's another one that I'm blanking on the name, but I did not ever pick up Above and Below. And so for me, this is sort of a way to fill that gap. And I also think that these ghost meeples in this game look absolutely killer. And that's definitely something that drew me in as an immediate must cop, because I just had to have that in my life. So really excited for Above and Below Haunted, and he's just got really great mechanics and story building. Second, we're gonna have Ada's Dream. Now, Ada's Dream, I am not for sure if this is a sequel to Darwin's Journey. It feels sort of like that in a sense. They're two different publishers. This is coming from Alley Cat Games, but Darwin's Journey always felt like it's something I haven't played, but just seeing previews of it, feel like you're going on this you're getting the singular person's experience. And I feel like Ada's Dream kind of resembles that in a way where you are playing as, I believe, Ada, and you're working to build the first computer. And so that looks incredible. One, the art and the cover of this game look insane. The mechanics on it look pretty great. I love games that have dice and dice placement and drafting. This has got sort of a rondelle to that as well. And so I really like, again, the artwork of this. I love, one thing that I love in board games that is becoming more prevalent is I love seeing women, people of color, minorities being showcased more in board games. Ada's Dream, for me, is definitely one that I will 100% be picking up, because one, the mechanics look great. Two, the artwork looks fantastic. And three, the theme is great, And so really excited for Ada's Dream. Number 3 is called The Big Squeeze. Now, The Big Squeeze, I don't know much about this game. Looks like it's coming from Wiggles 3D. No idea who that is, but it looks like a really cool gateway game. It's set sort of like in an apocalyptic sort of theme, and you are running a lemonade stand. I don't know exactly what the gameplay is going to say, but it says post-apocalyptic gameplay not only introduces new wild recipes, but new character upgrades that unlock your full potential. So on this, in terms of gameplay, I'll just read a little bit about it. You're going to move your meeple to different locations in town and do its action. You're going to gain ingredients, gain recipes, spend ingredients to make lemonade, and then sell that lemonade. But your decisions start stacking up fast. How much will you invest your cash into upgrading your lemonade stand, and how much will you stash away to prepare for the apocalypse? So I love how this is. You've got two different eras. It's like you got before the apocalypse and then after the apocalypse. And again, one thing that I love about this that drew me in is, you know, it's got a woman on the cover. It's got a black woman on the cover. And this art looks really great. Like there's a lot of inclusivity going on in this cover. And so I really hope I get a chance to cover this or play this, support it however it's going to come out. But I like the theme. I like that it says that it's an entry level game as well. So that is my number 3, The Big Squeeze. Okay, so at number 4, we're gonna have Critter Kitchen coming to us from Cardboard Alchemy, I believe distributed by Lucky Duck Games, designed by Alex Cutler, Peter C. Haywood, and it's got art from Sindara Tang. Now, this is in the same universe, I believe, as Flamecraft. Obviously, it has a lot of similarities in the art because Sindara also did the artwork for Flamecraft, which was a huge hit. This Kickstarter did numbers. I mean, they had everything from cookie cutters to napkins to all types of stuff. And the amount of content that you're gonna get in this game feels like too much in a way because the gameplay feels so simple, at least from the outskirts. But I think because this gameplay looks so simple to pick up and play and get moving, that I think that because there's a lot of content, it's going to actually have the same effect for me as Marvel United, where, you know, you've got a lot of different chefs that you're going to be able to add into this game. You're going to be able to add different scoring requirements, and it's going to make every game so different. The amount of players, how that scales is going to feel different. So I think Critter Kitchen is primed for a huge year in the board game community. I think it might take over the same way Flamecraft did. But in this game, you're going to have some meeples that you're going to be putting out in the town to claim ingredients to then put onto your plate. The way you're going to do that looks really interesting. You're going to have different plates of, with different recipes that you're trying to fulfill, and different meeples can carry different amounts of ingredients. So you might have the big, ox, and then it can carry up to 4. You might have the really fast mouse, and it can only carry 1, but it's going to pick up the ingredient first at the location because it's fast. So you're bidding with these meeples, and then you're getting those ingredients and then plating them to fulfill the recipe requirements that you need to do. And I just love that simple mechanic, but done in a really unique way where you're bidding with meeples instead of bidding with money and things like that. And I think the artwork is going to make this thing shine. So I cannot wait for Critter Kitchen. I did not get the all-in deluxe because I didn't need actual plates. I'm fine with the cardboard plate and everything. But if you got the deluxe, I'm a little jealous. It just feels like it's going to take up so much space. But the game looks incredible. A lot of really cool add-ons that are going to come with it. My number 5 is going to be Distilled Cocktails. Now, Distilled is a game that I got to play this last year with my best friend Chris. And it's a game that we absolutely loved. We adored this game. We're big whiskey guys. I've got a whole whiskey cabinet right here in the game room. So I love whiskey. I also am a graphic designer by trade, and I've done some whiskey packaging. So for me, Distilled in that world and taking distillery tours, this was a game that I had to buy, and it lived up to the hype and some. In Distilled, what you're doing is you're gaining these ingredients, and then you're doing a little bit of deck building. You're shuffling up, and then you're going to skim the top and the bottom card, and then you're going to see what you get. You might have made moonshine, or you might have made a really cool whiskey or drink. And if you're able to make that, then you can then make it and bottle it and sell it, get money, and then do that again over the course of several rounds. And you're going to the shop and buying upgrades for your distillery, and you've got a specific family recipe that you really want to make. So adding in the cocktails expansion for me is just a must get because I'm a cocktail fiend. I love specialty cocktails. Whenever we go out for drinks, I'm the one saying, give me the sweetest, girliest looking drink you got, because I love a good cocktail. I think it's so creative what mixologists can do with the flavors and colors. And so I'm always about a good cocktail. So for me, distilled cocktails is like, you're just speaking my language. Paverson, Dave Beck, you're speaking my love language. Thank you. Okay, number 6 is going to be Dragon Ball Z Duel Battle. I don't know a lot about this game, but I grew up watching a ton of Dragon Ball Z. I love Goku and the whole gang. That's like my jam. And so this is coming to us from Yoka Games by Sume. I'm not too sure. There's only really one image for this game, and it looks like you've got some really cool, plastic meeple figures that you're gonna have. You're gonna have some dice, some asymmetric powers. I believe it's just a fighting game, and I love a good dueling fighting game, especially like 2 players where you can have 3 each or 4 each or something and do that. So I'm really excited for this game. I don't know, again, anything about it other than what the image looks like, but you're gonna compose your team and face an opponent in this miniature duel game in the Dragon Ball Z universe. On your turn, you're gonna activate your characters one after the other by rolling their action die, and then you can perform 3 out of 5 possible actions. You're going to be KOing characters to earn different points. So I do enjoy some good head-to-head battle games. I don't like when you have a battle game and there's 4 people and then 1 person gets eliminated. I like when it's just 1v1 and then whoever wins, and then you can play it again or move on to the next game. So this feels like it could definitely hit in the range for me, or be a good gift for some of my friends that also are big into DBZ. Number 7 is going to be a game that I actually have a copy of currently called Fate of Venterra from Corrosive Games. Now, this game is one that I have a preview copy of. I'll be doing more coverage of this in the future as they prepare for their Kickstarter coming up early this year. And so this is a game from Corrosive Games, like I mentioned, and I've gotten a chance to demo this game, see this game around. I'm good friends with the designers and the publishers. And for me, this game, there's the amount of pieces you're going to get in this, the amount of factions. You're doing some hex build out, and it's a 4X game, but you don't use any dice, which I believe is one of the coolest things about this. Usually 4X games are a bit overwhelming for me, but when I got a chance to demo this, it really felt intuitive. You're using cards to take actions to then take over territories, and then eventually, you're going to battle each other for those territories, building up your troops. I like the area control in this. I really enjoy, again, the miniatures and the figures, how you're going to move people around the board. And I really like the asymmetry in this game as well. So more to come for this, but definitely check out their Kickstarter pre-launch page and get ready for the game that will be launching and hopefully delivering this year. Number 8 on my list is called FLOE. Now, if one thing that people know about me is that I love games by Henry Audubon. 1, he's a good friend of mine. 2, he's a designer inspiration for me. That guy is so brilliant with his game design. And another thing that I am not the only person to say this, but I love Andrew Bosley's artwork. And so you're combining kind of 2 goats for me. You've got Henry Audubon and Andrew Bosley for a game called FLOE that looks absolutely insane. I mean, this game looks like it's got a lot of different elements going on, but also seems very intuitive. So it's a big table hog, and I don't know a lot about it. I've backed it, pre-backed it on Kickstarter. Hopefully I can get more information to do a full pledge. One of my friends also pledged for it as well. But the artwork, the box cover looks great. And for me, this game is one that you've got these 2 different areas of the board. You've got sort of the city where you're visiting different homes and you're taking actions. And you also have this cave where you're diving and digging in and you're able to face monsters, and you're getting like half points to build up. And eventually, I believe whoever gets 6 wins or something like that. But anyway, I'm very excited to hopefully see this at a convention, try it out, talk to Henry more about it and understand his process. But that is my number 8 FLOE. My number 9 game is going to be Galactic Cruise, and this is from the folks over at Kenson Key Games. Galactic Cruise is one that I believe also took the industry by storm in their Kickstarter and campaign last year, and for good reason. That game is chunky, but looks absolutely fantastic. I've never got a chance to play it yet because it's always booked. Every convention I've been to, you have to be like on the ball to be able to get a play-in of it, because every table that they have that's demoed is booked up solid. So I have gotten a chance to see it all laid out at PAX Unplugged. The meeples look crazy. I love the screen print on them. I love the theme. I'm a big space theme guy. I love space in general. So for me, I love the idea that, you know, you're going on this big cruise, this sort of vacation in space, and you're building out the perfect vacation. So Galactic Cruise, if you're watching me, you probably already know about it, but definitely want to check out if you're interested. I believe they'll be fulfilling pretty early this year. So Q1 at latest Q2. So one that I hope to get my hands on and be able to get some plays of, if not here in the game room, but at a board game convention coming up soon, because I know that they're going to be there and they're going to definitely have some cool stuff coming in the future. Number 10 is going to be Horizon Forbidden West season. It's a sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. This is my favorite video game of all time. I've got some Aloy merch at the top shelf on my game room that you can't see right now, but I absolutely love that video game, and I love the board game. The board game Horizon Zero Dawn got a lot of flack because it was semi-co-op, and I would also kind of lay on that the semi-co-op-ness of the game wasn't my favorite. I didn't like that it was we kind of working together, but one person's gonna win ultimately, just because that game was so complex. You had your skill trees and everything that you were building out. You had your individual characters and you're putting out all this stuff, and it just felt sort of two versus each other. So whenever my friends and I play it, we actually just play fully cooperative. We don't worry about getting sons or half sons or anything like that. We work together to take down the threats that are on the board and score the most points. For us, just accomplishing that is so much fun. And I've never had a bad play of this game because we play it that way. And so that's sort of a little house rule that we do. And I have no doubt that Forbidden West will be the same. And I'm all in backer on it. All the plastic miniatures, which aren't really miniatures, they're like as big as my head, really get me excited as a fan of the video game itself. One thing that I'm really excited about for this is that instead of having to build out the gameplay area with these squared tiles, you're actually going to be using a flip book, which is something that I am familiar with from playing Sleeping God Distant Skies and other campaign-esque games. This is also going to have a campaign that ties directly into the video game storyline, which I'm just so excited about, and I probably will replay the video games in anticipation of this game getting delivered. So that is my number 10, Horizon Forbidden West. Number 11 is going to be Ice 2nd Edition. Ice is probably my coolest board game in my collection, and you see what I did there. It is the coolest. It's also one of the most fun. For me, and I'll do this when I do my all-time breakdown, list of my favorite games of all time. It's high up on the list because the gimmick is cool, but the gimmick works, right? Like, you've got 5 different layers of ice that you're digging through, and you're competing with each other to get those relics. You've got a certain amount of actions every day, and so you've got to balance how often do you use them. You're trying to bring your assistants so you can dig down. You're doing these free actions. There's really great combinations. I love setting this game up. It's kind of a lot to set up, but it's so fun building out that ice and then just breaking it down. And then at the end, when the game's over, you've got all these relics and you've got this colorful board. And then it's got a light legacy component to it where the next game you play, you actually refer back to the relic you found, and that influences the next game. One thing that they are improving on for the 2nd edition is setup time. So I believe it's only going to be 3 layers instead of 5, but also the asymmetric powers for all the factions felt slightly imbalanced in the first edition, and the take that was very take that. I think that the new powers are going to greatly improve on that, so it feels a bit more semi-cooperative and less like totally wreck the other person all the time. But I don't mind getting wrecked in this game, because even if I lose horribly, I'm having a lot of fun. We've always had a lot of fun with this, and it's also one of my favorite board game covers of all time. So that is Ice 2nd Edition. Number 12 is going to be Lairs. Now this is coming to us from Kids Table Board Gaming. And Lairs is one that I don't know a ton about. I know that the Kickstarter did really well, but this is a 2-player only game, which I'm always a fan of, because I think when you design a game for 2 players only, that means that it's got that gameplay like streamlined really, really well. And it was doing had a lot of buzz around it at PAX. I didn't get a chance to play it. But it says you've worked hard to earn your spot in the Adventurers Guild, but one last obstacle remains. You must square off with a cunning rival guild hopeful in an exam in order to test your skills at building out a devious dungeon. So there are other games where you're building out dungeons. What I think makes this one more special is it looks like these intricate walls can go into the actual dungeon mat, and which I think is really cool. I love a good dual layer player board. The meeples look really, really cool. I don't know. I don't know a ton about the game, except that I've seen a lot of really intelligent reviewers and media people and in-game players that aren't reviewers that I'm friends with. They all have said it looks great and it plays great. So for me, it's got to make the list because it's a 2-player game. I love those. And KTBG does some fantastic games. One of my favorites from them is Creature Comforts. I recently got a copy of Maple Valley from them. Their production level's great. So yeah, that is Lairs coming in at 12. Coming in at number 13 is MarshHallow from 4Y Games. Now I covered a little bit of this game in my PAX Unplugged. I got the chance to meet the designer Curve in there, and he kind of showed me some of the card, and we talked through the gameplay. And I'm really excited about this game to go to crowdfunding and then hopefully deliver this year as well. It's got a really cool mechanic in it that I believe All Play is also doing with one of their upcoming games, Oddlands, where you've got a card that goes over another card that has that translucent overlay. Unconscious Mind also recently did this. So I'm really excited about that. It's a flip and right game, I believe. And in this, you are trying to save your friends from, you're all marshmallows. You're trying to save your friends from basically dying in the marshmallow world. And so you're doing these cool grids, you're drawing on it to then save those friends that you surround. And so you have some really interesting other mechanics where you're doing some interactivity between players, where you're doing motions on the table, like banging on the table or saying statements. And I think I always enjoy when games do that, because it kind of brings you out of just being in your own solo solitaire mode to interacting with the players in a bit more unique way. So that is MarshHallow. Looking forward to that one. Number 14, we are going to be covering Marvel Dice Throne missions. And I'm going to just include the Marvel Dice Throne X-Men, the whole kit and caboodle into this, because it was the same campaign. But I love Marvel Dice Throne. I love Marvel Dice Throne so much that I will just get 2 characters and I'll have myself and my evil twin playing against each other, trying to see what character is going to win. And so for this whole campaign, you've got the X-Men that are getting added to this Marvel Dice Throne collector's set. I've got the All-In pledge from their last one. Well, not all in. I don't have all the playmats, just a couple of playmats. And then with this one, I ordered a couple new playmats as well. But what I love about this campaign is obviously you've got the X-Men, Wolverine, Storm, Deadpool is included in this. I mean, it's going to be incredibly cool. But the missions is what I'm really love, because you have these big bads from Marvel and they each have their own big player board or game board. and you're just trying to complete a mission to defeat that one particular villain. And one thing that I really liked from their previous set was the Dice Throne Adventures was this dungeon crawl sort of adventure. It was just a lot to set up, and I felt like I didn't get enough out of that experience to really want to play it more than a couple of times. I personally love the Marvel characters over their individual, own universe characters. I do have a couple of those sets like Santa and Krampus, where I thought was super great. But I don't know, it's hard for me to get right into that theme because you have these ghouls and goblins in that, and then I'm fighting them with Miles Morales, and it just didn't feel that thematic. But when you're adding these missions, for me as a Marvel fanboy, to me, this is more my speed, right? I can get myself into the theme, I can get it, I can see these people fighting. So I'm really excited about Marvel Dice Throne, X-Men, missions, the whole thing. The next game that I want to cover is number 15, Merchant's Cove Mastercraft. Now, Merchant's Cove is a game that I've actually only played one time at Geekway to the West, but I loved my play of it so much that I went and bought the game from Noble Knight. Now, it was hard to get at that point. It's a bit easier now, but this is an expansion to that. It adds a whole new area to the board where you're going to have sort of a festival that you're visiting and doing some things with. And it's going to add in some new asymmetric players. So what I love about Merchant's Cove is that every one is playing the main game where you're taking the same similar actions, but you're also playing your own player board mini game. So if you're the pirate, you're trying to get treasure. If you're the alchemist, you're brewing potions, and everyone's doing this. So you have to learn. It's a lot to learn, right? You're learning the main gameplay, but you also have to then learn your own individual player gameplay, which is a lot to ask of people, but I think that it's cool in a sense because I love mini games. I love that complexity portion of it. So for me, Mastercraft was definitely a merch must buy because I get more asymmetry in Mastercraft with Merchant's Cove. So that is going to be number 15. Now, number 16 is a game coming to us from Tangerine Games, and that is called Peaks. And Peaks is one that my friend backed, and we're really excited. That's one thing we try to do is not back the same game to save money. But for me, Peaks looks really cool. Tangerine is a great publishing company. They've recently did Nestlings. They've got another one coming out called Saurus, I believe. But in this game, you're hiking mountains, and I really like the idea of that, the theme. So mountaineers venture to climb to the tallest peaks in the world. We're beginning the game hiking up iconic hills from around the world as you build your stamina and experience. And you're going to gain equipment and companions to help you travel higher and higher. And so, I don't know, I feel like that cool engine buildingness of Peaks is really intriguing. And I think the board looks really cool. And the components, like the flags, look really great. So yeah, I'm really excited for Peaks. Excited to get that in my hands eventually and give it a go. The next game on this list is called Pergola. Now, Pergola is a game that I don't know anything about other than seeing the Board Game Geek upcoming games for 2025. I just had to basically do a filter for 2025 games, and so it's got a few on there. So this one says you're going to grow plants and fight insects and make your garden look beautiful. So you're going to develop your gardens, grow new plants, attract insects and small animals. On your turn, you're going to choose from one of the 4 available tools. Then you'll pick the presented items and arrange them in your garden. The art on the game looks really great. I think that the theme is really cool. And it says the last little bit about gameplay. Since players have a lot of freedom in arranging plants in their gardens, after 15 rounds, each garden looks completely different and scores differently. So you're going to play it over 15 rounds. And I just think that this theme looks great. It's coming from Rebel Studio. And I believe that Rebel Studio is also, oh no, that was De Vere, I guess. We'll see what other games Rebel Studio is known for. Okay, they're known for Nemesis. It looks like Meadow, so the artwork looks very similar. Dream Home, which is for dogs. So yeah, they've clearly got a track record of making very successful games, especially with this sort of coziness to it. So really excited for Pergola. The number 18 game that I'm most excited for is RUSE. Now, RUSE is a game that I backed on Kickstarter and has got some updates going on GameFound. I believe it should be delivering pretty soon. And in RUSE, it's sort of like in the same world or similarly to the Fox experiment, because we're all foxes and we're building out our fox territories. I honestly don't know a ton about the gameplay because it's been a while since the Kickstarter, but it's definitely one I'm looking forward to. The artwork and the components look great. You've got some dice in the game as well. And so they've been really, really good about communicating with backers about timelines. So very, very pleased with my experience of backing RUSE and the whole game itself. So I'll be doing an unboxing and gameplay of that solo and etc. for RUSE. Number 19 is Speakeasy. Now, Speakeasy is a game that I actually did not back, but I'm really excited to check it out this year. I'm sure it will be at all of the conventions. It's from Eagle Griffin Game, and it's got Ian O'Toole art and designed by Vital Lacerda, who is obviously one of the most popular designers in the board game world. And so Speakeasy has got this, it looks chunky AF, right? Like it looks huge, but I love that it's got this sort of mob vibe to it. And also it's like you're doing this underground trading and it's got a lot of thinkiness in it. The meeples and the components look great. The artwork obviously looks great with Ian O'Toole. So yeah, I don't know a ton about it because I didn't back it, but I know it's one that feels very similar to the unconscious mind world where it's going to really push your brain. You're going to get a lot out of the gameplay. So for me, it's one that I definitely want to play. Will I buy it? I don't know, but I'm really looking forward to it in general. Okay, number 20. This might be my actual most anticipated game of this year, and it is called Stonesaga. Now, this is from Open Owl Studio, and for me, this is a game that I got ads for well before the Kickstarter launch, and the box art is probably my favorite box art I've ever seen. If you just sold me a poster of that, I would put it up. And so for me, I didn't care. The gameplay could have been terrible and I would have bought it because the box art is so good and it just gives such a vibe. So I can't wait to just display that, honestly. But in Stonesaga, it's a really cool exploration game. So you start out with your own character and over time that character is going to obviously get better and better, but then they die. And then you will get the sort of next generation of that character and they will have learned from the past character that you played, and then they will get better, and then, they will probably die. And then the next generation comes. So I really like that. You're doing this really cool hexploration where all the hexes have got this barrier, this sort of stabilizer for them. And so as you're exploring different areas, you can put tiles on those hexes that sit nicely on them and reveal like a new area. Maybe they reveal like a lake or whatever. All the hexes have clouds. So as you're doing this, you're sort of unlocking that zone and the clouds go away when you flip the tile, which reminds me a lot of the video games that I play. And so I love that aspect of it. It's got a lot of similar vibes to Sleeping Gods, Distant Skies in terms of exploration, but they do it in a really unique way. So I also love in this game, your player board, you have a bag and all the different pieces that you're going to be collecting from exploration go into your bag, but they have to actually fit within your bag, and your bag's like this odd shape. And so you have to maneuver those. And if they can't fit flat into your bag, then you can't carry it. And I like that about Stonesaga a lot. So this is definitely probably my number one game of most anticipated, and I really hope that it fulfills this year. The Kickstarter has been very, very slow. It's delayed, it's behind, but fingers crossed. I don't think that Open Owl misses with a lot of their games. So I'm not really concerned about not getting it. I just hope that I get it this year and it doesn't get delayed another year. So we'll see, fingers crossed. My number 21 game is T-Witches. Now, T-Witches is one that's been getting a lot of hype since it got leaked a little bit at one of the conventions, and for good reasons. You know, designer Manny Vega did Flamecraft, and they are just a fantastic designer. Big fan of Manny's work, and it's got art by Sandara Tang, and it's been published by the Op, who the Op has really taken off in their hobby line with, you know, games like Salk Exchange and MarshHallow. So don't expect anything less with T-Witches. They do have a description online, which I'm very excited about. T-vendors from across the land must summon and serve lines of witches in order to gain their loyalty, all while sending out magical T-pups to entice celebrities and find ways to further enhance their prestige. That singular sentence alone is enough for me to buy whatever you put in front of me. So you've got some big heavy hitters with Sandara Tang, Manny Vega, and then that description. So yeah, I'm in. But it does have a little bit more about gameplay. So it's played over 4 rounds, each representing 1 day of the Tequinox Fair. Each day has 2 phases. You've got a summoning phase where you'll draw cards simultaneously to a crowd of witches to their tea hut. And you're not gonna push your luck too far. So it's got some cool push your luck elements. You don't wanna cause hexes in this. And then in the service phase, which is the second phase of a singular day, you'll take turns sending out your teapups to various boutiques in the city to gather toppings and collect tea from rotating crystal fountain. You're gonna serve the witches, you're gonna upgrade. This is like the meat of the game. And so you're gonna be completing tea orders, attracting celebrities, earning money, and upgrading your tea hut to get prestige. So, I mean, I think this is going to be a big game for the year. I think that this is going to do even bigger than MarshHallow, just because MarshHallow sort of set the foundation for the Op, and now they're just going to knock it out the park. So shout out to T-Witches coming in at number 21. Number 22 is another game from Ivy Studio. They've really ramped up their output for games. They've got a full studio dedicated to game design, so I anticipate seeing more and more games from them. This one is called Tend. Now, Tend is a farm, explore, and fish in a cozy alien world. This got a lot of buzz and did great on the Kickstarter, and I can't wait for my copy to arrive. It's a roll and write, flip and write, X and write. It's got a lot of different things going on it. But the cool thing about it is it's got scratch offs where you're taking turns, you're using your turns to. It's got, okay, so let me restart this. Let me just kind of rewind it a bit. Tend has got so much in it that it's kind of confusing, but you've got a player mat and you're going to have like 100 of these in the game. So once you write on it, you know, you're going to throw it away or keep it or whatever. But you've got dice that you're going to use to plant and grow animals in your farm. Plant, not animals, but plant plants and grow things. You also have another separate part of the board where you're going to do things like explore caves, you're gonna go fishing, you're gonna build stuff. I don't know, there's a lot of things in this game. And so as you're doing those, you're gonna use scratch offs to sort of explore the world, which I think is something really cool. It does create waste in a sense because you're not gonna be able to do that one again, but they do have an online digital version of these scratch offs. So if you don't want to, you know, create waste, or if you don't want to go through scratch offs, you can use a digital version of it. It can play from 1 to 6. It also has these cool pins that are actually stamps. And so you've got a ledger book that you're going to be noting things you find, and you're going to stamp those in and score points. There's a lot of moving parts of this. There's no way that I can actually cover it in this video, but I'm really excited for it. And the artwork, again, hits as always from Ivy Studio. The production level's out the charts. So can't wait for that one. Number 23, we're getting towards the end of the list here, is called Vantage. This is coming to us from Stonemaier Games. Now, Jamie Stonemaier is one of my board game heroes with everything that he has done. Viticulture is the game that got me really hooked into this hobby. And so I love everything that Stonemaier does. I really enjoyed Wingspan. I picked up a copy of Wormspan. Haven't got a chance to play it. I haven't played Scythe, but Vantage is a co-op game, and I love co-op games. They're one of my favorite kind of games to play. So you're going to cooperatively explore an entire planet's open world from first-person perspectives. There's not a lot on this game other than the box cover, some pictures of dice. Looks like you've got some coins, and there's also a box cover insert that Jamie posted, but there's some blurred images so that way things are not totally revealed. He does a great job of marketing his games, and it's a game that he says he's been working on for like 8 years, which is kind of crazy, but I'm super excited about this game. I really hope that I get a chance to cover it early, or if not, I'll just be buying it because it's just a cool concept. And yeah, and I love that it's going to have a good solo mode. They hire out Autonoma to build out a lot of their solo modes. So really excited about Vantage from Stonemaier Games. Number 24 is going to be a game called Vineyard, a winemaking game. Now, I just mentioned that viticulture is the game that got me into this hobby, into this world in a deeper sense. And so Vineyard, a winemaking game, is one that I think gonna sort of give me those callbacks to viticulture. I still play viticulture all the time. It's one of the games I recommend all the time. There's not a lot on this game. There is a good description on BGG. And again, I'll have all these linked to the BGG pages where you can read in full. But you've got shared worker placement, you've got quick engaging turns, unique location actions, and ongoing upgrade choices. So it does seem similar to viticulture in a lot of ways. But I think there's place in this world, in this hobby for games that use similar themes and even similar mechanics, as long as they do them different enough to where it approaches a different market. It gives people a different experience. And so the artwork in this game looks absolutely adorable. I love the box cover a lot. So yeah, it sort of reminds me of the games from, I don't know who it is, like Caper and things like that, where you're sort of, it's gonna kill me who this reminds me of, but I can't think of it. Where you're doing like heist and things like that. And so yeah, anyway, the box cover looks great. Really excited about Vineyard, a winemaking game, coming in at number 24. And number 25 is Wine Cellar. Now, Wine Cellar is a game that I backed on Kickstarter, and I am just waiting for this game to come out. It looks so fun. It's got an 8.8 on BGG already, which is kind of crazy, but it is a game from 25th Century Games and designed by Andrew Stiles. And this game plays up 1 to 8 players, which is what I really like about it. It's got some cool bidding system in it where you're trying to bid for different wines, or different, whites, reds, rosés, and different ages. And so you're going to bid for these wines, you're going to add them to your collection, your tableau, and then you're going to score for things that are sort of making the best line. It's the best way to describe it that I have, but it's got some just incredible artwork. I got a chance to preview this while at Origins. Andrew got to show me a little bit of the copy. So Vincent Dutrait did the artwork for this, and he is sort of one of the GOATs as well for board game art. And yeah, I can't wait for it. It's going to be one that I will play pretty often. My friends were all into wine and stuff as well. Like to go to Vineyard, so definitely going to be one that hits the table pretty often, I imagine. And it also plays really well at 2. So that is going to be the full list. We're going to end with number 25, Wine Cellar from 25th Century Games. So let's hop into the honorable mentions. The first one I want to talk about is a shameless plug for myself. Holiday Hills is a game that I've made, and it's going to be coming out in 2025. I've talked about it on the channel. I'll do some more talking about that later and on my actual publishing company called Chris Couch Games. But super excited about that. We'll have the Kickstarter in either late February or early March. So really excited to bring a game, my second game, into the market. The second honorable mention is Brink from Ivy Studios. Now, this successfully funded last year and is going to be delivering this year. One of my best friends, he backed this game and is super pumped about it. We love Moonrakers. I love everything from Ivy, Austin, Zach, all those guys. Lily, she's fantastic. That whole crew, that whole team is some of the best game designers and marketers that I know. And they're just great people. So if you haven't heard of Ivy Studios, you should definitely check them out and check out their games. Brink is going to have some cool, it's in the world of Moonrakers, I believe, and it's got these great miniatures, and it's miniature placement on hexes, and you're doing some resourcing and then some negotiation and some bidding. So I won't get too much into it, but I will have a link to the BGG page and everything in this. The next one is Formaggio. Now this is an expansion to Fromage, which I just recently picked up. Fromage is one of the big hits of 2024. This is an expansion to that. I don't know much about this other than that, but the artwork I actually like on this cover more than I like on the Fromage box cover. It just feels a bit more encompassing into the world. So looking forward to that. Space Off is a game that I talked about in my PAX Unplugged recap. It's going to be a game that's coming to Kickstarter this year and hopefully will be delivering this year. Really excited about that. It's got like mini games in it, some really cool artwork, and I got to meet the designers at PAX and they are really great. And then Propolis is another one that I mentioned in my PAX Unplugged recap, and that's coming to us from Flat Out. It's got some really cool worker placement, some cool engine building going on with bees. I'm actually scared of bees, but I like bee games, so go figure. But that one looks really, really great, and I am super excited about that. I appreciate you checking out this full list of my 25 most anticipated games for 2025. This is going to be a good year for gaming. 2024 was a fantastic year, and I don't see how 2025 will be much different. I definitely think that this will be a year where we see a lot of really unique themes, a lot of really unique mechanics, and a lot of competition for space. So as a board game designer, I'm always trying to look and see what people are doing in the trends, and I think there's going to be a lot of people kind of competing in the same areas. All Play has really taken off with their small box games. You're going to have more people doing small box games trying to hit that market. You're going to see the Op getting more into the hobby world, which they've already done. Barnes & Noble has escalated in proportion in the amount of games that they have for the hobby. Walmart even too, Target as well. So party games are also becoming more common for people that are in the board game world to kind of accept, and that's because people are making really unique party game ideas that don't feel just like apples to apples. They feel like they're really unique and they're creative and they're new and different. So I think this is going to be a really competitive year for people, and we probably might see the most board games we've ever seen published. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment. Give me a subscribe if you haven't been here already and you enjoy some of the other videos and the content that I do. It goes a long way for me just to be able to understand what things you like. This channel for me this year is going to be all about just having fun, getting a chance to engage with anyone online. I love building community, and so it's not about making money. It's not about trying to sell anything. I want to talk about the games I'm making because I think that'll bring a lot of people joy. I want to talk about the games I'm playing because maybe you want to hear a different perspective from someone that is, you know, a reviewer, but really just all about trying to have fun in their games. You know, to me, that's what board gaming is all about, making good friends and playing great games. So excited for y'all to be here with me in 2025. Let's have a great year. And remember, stay nerdy, keep that soul dirty.